We have already talked about the 5 popular foreground plants, and in this video I'm going to talk about the 5 popular midground plants. And first up is Blixa japonica. Blixa japonica is really a very popular plant nowadays for midground, or some people use that as foreground as well. And what makes it a very popular plant is it's easy to care, easy to propagate. It thrives well under non-CO2 and CO2 conditions as well. It also kind of thrives between medium to high lighting. So all those advantages are there. And on icing on the cake is that Blixa japonica gives us that really bushy kind of look with the green color, the bright green color that we want. Now, talking about its requirements, Blixa ideally requires a very stable pH condition between 6 to 7.5. It also requires a water temperature of anywhere between 22 to 26 degrees. Blixa japonica actually thrives very well under high lighting, which also means CO2 injection and very good amount of fertilization is liked by this plant. Let me put it that way. Blixa japonica, again, it's a stem plant. Contrary to beginners' belief that it does runners, it's kind of carpeting plants. It's actually a stem plant, which again makes it easier to cut and propagate. Blixa japonica is our first most popular midground plant. The second most popular midground plant is nothing but AR Mini. Alexandra Reniki Mini is popular since long time, mainly because it's a midground plant plus it's a red colored plant. But however, it's also a nightmare for many of us because of its slow growing. It attaches or it easily attracts algae onto its leaves. AR Mini is a really slow growing plant. The key to success is that CO2 injection, proper fertilization, high intensity lights, and also the substrate and the tank as a whole should be clean. All these parameters are directly connected to the fact that if you fumble on any of these parameters, it will easily attract algae, and it's a nightmare mainly because most of the times if you are beginning up, you can see that AR Mini is kind of dull or pale gray color, or even in some cases it turns brown as well. The main reason behind that, I'm just repeating, is because the water parameters are not stable, the substrate is not clean, you have a lot of debris in the tank, so all those things. So AR Mini, it's a very popular plant. It does not require a very specific temperature. It can thrive between a wide range of temperature. It can thrive between a wide range of hardness as well. But what makes it really difficult is its tendency to attract algae. But nevertheless, AR Mini is our second most popular midground plant. The third plant, what I'm going to talk, is not typically a very popular plant, but I believe it's going to be very popular very soon. It's the Samolus parviflorus red. Again, it will become popular, or already some part of India where I'm talking from, it's already popular because of the red color. Second thing is it's a hardy plant. Quite contrary to the belief that it's not a hardy plant, it's tough to grow. It's a hardy plant. We have tested this out in high-tech environment, low-tech environment, all kinds of temperature and hardness and everything. It's really a hardy plant, but it's very rare to find because the propagation is not so easy because it's a slow growing plant. So quite like I discussed about the AR Mini, this one also attracts algae on its leaves because of the slow growing nature. Talking about the light requirement for this, it grows well between medium to an average high lighting. It likes CO2, but without CO2 also this plant does well. If you want the red color, the really bright red one as we call it, if you want that coloration and stable coloration, you need to inject CO2. The light should be slightly above medium to avoid any algae accumulation. Nutrients should be provided, substrate should be clean, and obviously just like any other aquatic plants, if you can keep the temperature, water temperature below 25, this plant will love. Nevertheless, Samolus parviflorus red, you guys, if you can get hands on that, should definitely try that. It's an awesome plant. Today in our hobby, Though it's a very expensive plant or considered to be expensive plant, Bucephalantras are one of the most popular mid-grown plants. So what makes it popular is it can be attached to wood, it can be attached to rocks, and also it can be very well grown in substrates as well. And also just like cryptocurrents, which I am going to talk later, these Bucephalantras also comes in all sort of varieties of colors, shapes, leaf sizes and everything. Success in keeping these guys healthier is also similar to AR mini and other slow growing plants, is that you need to have a clean substrate. The tank should be clean in general. Also it requires, if possible, temperature around 23 to 24 degrees. It allows a lot of flow. It also requires something to latch on to grow, like moss or something like that. That will really help. But nevertheless, this is becoming more and more popular in mid-ground, just because the varieties that we get, the coloration that we get, the leaves that forms out of the mid-ground, it gives a really good transition from foreground to mid-ground. And adding to that, since it's a fairly rare plant, it also attracts mid-level collectors also fairly well. So I believe Bucephalantra deserves sort of the second place in our hobby today to be a very good mid-ground plant. How can we stop this video without talking about the famous cryptocurrent species? Probably this is number one in mid-ground because we all have been using this, though during our beginning stages of the hobby, in low-tech environment, high-tech environment, everywhere we end up using this in mid-ground. You all know cryptocurrent is really a hardy plant. It requires substrate, but even if you float it around the tanks, it will absorb the nutrients and grow very well. Cryptocurrent is really suited for mid-ground because it doesn't have much of a stems, isn't it, to grow taller, but the leaves gives us the bushy feeling. And crypts comes in a lot of varieties of colors. You have green, you have brown, you have smaller green, bigger green, smaller brown, bigger brown, cryptocurrent, tigers, spiralensis, all these things, all kind of shapes and sizes and colors we get in cryptocurrent, all of them will fit in for the mid-ground. And what makes it really a popular plant, because all the 5 plants that I'm going to talk today in this video, cryptocurrent really is a low-tech plant, and that makes it number one. It can tolerate a wide range of hardness, wide range of temperature. People don't much care about nutrients for these plants. It also stays really well. The only drawback, if we have to tell, is that the roots are really thick. It runs all over the tank at times. If you want to replant cryptocurrent, it's hell of a job to make sure it doesn't turn around the substrate. But nevertheless, cryptocurrent is one such super duper popular mid-ground plants in our hobby. Hope you like this video about the 5 popular mid-ground plants. I'll be soon coming up with 5 popular background plants as well. If you're not taking a look at the 5 popular foreground plants, I encourage you to go ahead and check my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.